On this episode of Cumberland Rover, spring is here and me gotta go. Me gotta go pull the Pirogue down the Bayou. Well, sort of. I'm paddling my home-built wooden canoe up an obscure western Kentucky creek, just to see how far it goes.
Goodbye, Joe, me gotta go, me and Bayou. Me gotta go, hold the people down the bayou. Bayou, sweetest one, me and Bayou. Sound of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Jambalaya, crawfish pie, filet gumbo. 'Cause tonight I'm gonna see Mama share me. Get guitar, fill with joy, and be glad. Sound of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Pirogue, Fontaine, place is buzzing.
It is 70 some odd degrees, middle of March, trying to see how far I can get upstream. And there are many forks to this thing. I have tried to get up this before, last summer actually, in the 12-foot skiff rowing, and there was just too much dead wood, too many trees down, and I didn't make it very far at all. But I just got some intel from a local fisherman, self-described dirt poor local fisherman who grew up fishing on this creek, and he says you can get pretty far up this thing. He was saying one of the forks actually makes a big loop back to the boat ramp somehow, which seems kind of strange. I can't really feel much current here. Well, I don't really feel like I'm paddling very hard to get upstream, but if I stop and let off paddling, you do kind of feel it. You'll start to slow down a little quicker than you would and lose that momentum. This time I came prepared to deal with any big limbs or small trees that may have fallen across the creek channel that might be blocking my way. I brought a little folding saw and me snippers, clippers, whatever you want to say. So prepared to go all the way up this thing, however far that may be. Ooh, we got a nice gravel bar right here. This is kind of scenic actually. That fisherman I spoke to at the launch area said he had grown up fishing this creek as a kid and still lived nearby. He said his family didn't have a lot of money and they were always out here fishing. I don't know for sure, but I suspect that they were fishing more to put extra food on the table than for recreation. As shocking as it may sound to some, there's still a small number of rural Americans who rely on hunting and fishing to feed their families, at least to some degree. As my Pirogue crawled steadily up the creek, I kept noticing short lengths of line hanging down from the trees into the water. These were limb lines, a passive way of catching fish, especially catfish. Limb lines are similar to trot lines, but each one has only a single hook per set. I counted around 15 or 20 on my route upstream. To me, this likely means local people are still utilizing this creek as a food source. True, there may be a recreational aspect to limb lining for some, but it's very different from sport fishing with a rod and reel. Limb lines, trot lines, and jugs have probably been used to put fish in the pan as long as fish have been eaten by people. We recreational boaters may sometimes overlook the fact, but like the trot line or limb line, traditional small boats like the Cajun Pirogue originated as specialized tools used to make a living on the water. To me, this makes these old traditional boats all the more inspiring. The humble canoe is one of humanity's oldest technologies, but it's as practical and functional now as it's been for thousands of years. You can still feed your family with a pirogue. It's going to be more than a 9-to-5 job, however. That would be more like a sun-up to sundown. This is a nice, broad, clear stretch of the creek right here. So far, it's been pretty clear of debris, actually. This river reminds me a lot of the nearby Clark's River, which I did a video on last summer. I think it was titled, "Why No One Paddles This Beautiful River in Kentucky." And this looks a lot like it. Looks almost identical. In the spring, just seems a lot cleaner to me. The water seems cleaner. Maybe that's just my perception because the water's cold. I can feel a little bit coming off the paddle every now and then. But also the banks are pretty high here. Just kind of high, muddy banks. But there's quite a bit of sand as well. She keeps on a-going. Long straight stretch right here. That was the first thing approaching an obstacle that I've really come to, was that fallen tree I just ducked under. Just found this sandy little side feeder. Maybe a spring actually coming down. It's pretty cold, but what's interesting is that in this sand there's a bunch of shiny metallic little bits. Gold? I don't know. I don't think so. There's a lot of it though. Whatever it is. It's really small. Never noticed those little shiny grains in sand before. Some kind of mineral, I guess. This little creek is just the kind of place I imagine paddling when designing and building my 12-foot pirogue. She's very similar to a traditional Cajun pirogue, but a little shorter and a little narrower than most. If you're interested in the design, you may want to check out my build video. I also have plans available as a PDF download on cumberlandrover.com, which are also linked in the description of this video and on the build video. Well, unfortunately, I think that debris pile calls for a little bit more than a handsaw and snippers. That's the end of the line on the main creek. But now I'm up a little fork that may be worth checking out. I don't know how far this will go, but we'll give it a shot. Got an old dock float back in this feeder that would have had quite a journey to get back in here from the lake. Just squeezing through. Looks like it keeps going. Getting real shallow here, just scraped the bottom. And getting deep again. Totally grounded out and out of water here. I can see a little mini waterfall up ahead, or little mini rapids. So I think that's the end of this adventure. But you know, I got back in here a lot further than I really expected to. The river was all clear just until that last totally unpassable debris pile. I'm wondering if maybe some fishermen have been up the river maintaining it a little bit and cutting out some branches and fallen trees, because I saw limb lines all the way up the length of the creek. But you know, it's a beautiful area. I'm glad I came out here for sure. And like the Clarks River, it feels very remote because you're surrounded by these bottomlands that are pretty tough to traverse on foot, and ATVs aren't allowed, horseback riding isn't allowed, so you definitely feel alone out here. It's a Really beautiful and peaceful place for sure.
Goodbye, Joe. Me gotta go. Me and mine. Me gotta go. Oh, the Pirogue down the bayou. My run, sweet as wine. Me and mine. Sound of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Jambalaya, crawfish pie, filet gumbo. 'Cause tonight I'm gonna see Mama share a meal. Get guitar, fill good jaw, and be glad. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Fontainebleau, place is buzzing. Info come to see if I'm by the dozen. Twist and style, oh wow, me oh my. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Jambalaya, crawfish pie, filet gumbo. 'Cause tonight I'm gonna see Mama shiver me. Take a guitar, fill food jar, and be glad. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Jambalaya, crawfish pie, the filet gumbo. 'Cause tonight I'm gonna see Mama share a meal. Pick a guitar, fill food jar, and be glad. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou.
Come on, man. Come on.